All right, we're going to do the same anomaly detection in KNIME, and you're going to see we have to sort of introduce a couple of new things. And the first part, we're going to use R within KNIME because some packages are much easier to do. Some analyses are much easier to do in R than they are in KNIME. So KNIME includes the ability to use R within it. So what we need to do first is have R installed on our system, and then we need to install these two packages to get it running in KNIME. So you install both of these. Once they're installed, then it'll work okay. So this here tells you how to get the installation going. You also have to do some setup in KNIME as well. So the installation guide will take you through that. But one of the things you need to do, you're going to install KNIME extensions, and you're going to change the preferences here. So walk through this to get everything installed. Once it's all installed, then it's fairly straightforward. And if we go over here, we can look at the scripting, and after you've installed it correctly, you have these R nodes that you can work with. So I read in from the CSV file, the same CSV file we had before, and then I'm going to run the ISO tree in R. So we can look at that and configure what's happening there, and notice as soon as I open it, I'm running in R now the whatever code that I need. So let me tell you what you need to do here. So first we need to read into the library these packages. Any package that you use within this library, you have to install first from R. So you need, this ISO tree and this dplyr I have installed in the R code before. Then I can go ahead and run this in the library. Then what this works is this knime.in is the data frame that is coming into the node, and we create a new object here, DTA. Then all of this is the same as we just did in R. Then at the end we have this DTA, this data frame we read in, and we're going to output the data from R into the KNIME out. So that's what comes out of the node at the end. So this allows you to read in data from KNIME, read data out from R into KNIME, and then do things in R that will then flow back into the KNIME workflow. So that's easy. Now this KNN distance. One of the problems with KNIME running R within KNIME is that some things that take a long time in R can take an extremely long time in KNIME. So KNIME isn't terribly good with running these super complex models with big data sets. We could make some adjustments to help it a little bit, but the easier way, and this is the way I'm going to suggest when you run through that yourself, is delete this node and just do the ISO tree, run into this linear correlation, and that'll be a whole lot easier. Let's look at the linear correlation. So it's called a Pearson correlation, but all I'm going to do is read in these outputs from it. So these things that I'm going to try and look at the correlations between the measures of how unusual something is and the total assets and total revenues, and we're only going to include those that are compatible. That's easy. We can execute and open views and then view this correlation matrix. Well, it isn't done yet. So, but you'll see the correlations are the same as we get in the R code. Another thing to notice here is if we do this, if it says use colors, it's not going to be easy to work with. So let's make it easier for you to see here, because I'm getting tired of letting that run forever. All right, so we run this, we set up the linear correlation, and I'm going to look at the ISO, how unusual it is, total assets and total revenues, execute and open views, or we can execute and then later look at view correlation matrix. They do the same things. Now it opens, so you can't see anything here. So if you change view to not use colors, then it gives you the correlation matrix, and it says total assets is negatively correlated with the unusualness in the ISO, and revenues unusualness in the ISO. You say those aren't the same correlations, but that's because I didn't do the natural log of these columns. If we wanted to change those, then we would see the exact same correlations. All right, so we're getting to some things that are a little hard to do in KNIME, but using R within KNIME opens up the flexibility to do some different things. And then when there are things that we can only do in R, then we'll do it in R within KNIME. And then when there are things that can be done without too much hassle in KNIME, then we'll just go straight from there. So I would mess with this a little bit. I wouldn't get too worked up about how long that other one loads. If you want to give it a try and see how long it'll take, go ahead. But I don't think I'm going to wait around. I'll just stick with the ISO tree. And in R, what you'll see is the two give very similar answers, so we're not too concerned about it.